Team Europe are closing in on a dream, the dream of the Weber Cup. It's the final day, the day when that dream will come true, or Team USA will stage a great sporting fight back and win for the first time in 4 years. Europe need just 3 points, the USA 7. Anything is possible as the teams take to the lane for the final session of the Weber Cup. The magic number here at the Weber Cup is 19. It's the first team to reach that target that claims the trophy. 1 point per match, with the matches consisting of singles, doubles and a baker. A team match involving all 8 players. As for the scoring, it's been simplified. The matches are played over 10 frames, there's no extra shot in the 10th. A strike is worth 30, and of course the magical score still remains the 300 game. Europe have been chasing this tournament from day one. The Americans claimed the opening 2 matches and set the tone. It was left to Jesper Svensson to save the day. He responded with points that kept his team in touch, helped by Barrett winning in the final match of the session. Day 2 showed a closer fought contest. Barrett won the opener, and despite the USA winning 3 games on the trot, Europe found a way back in via Stuart Williams, and then through the partnership of Larsen and Svensson. The USA finished with a win and finished 2 points clear of their rivals. The evening session proved a turning point for Europe. The leaderboard dominated by blue. 2 opening wins in the baker, and then by Williams set them on their way. The evening session and the 15th match of this tournament saw all 8 players turn out for the baker match. Europe, in a determined mood, recorded a 2-8-6 to win comfortably. Williams added another. Tackett hit back for the USA. But it was a temporary reprieve. 3 more points for Europe and a single one for the USA. It left the score at 11-10 to Europe, a notable shift in fortunes. Day 3 arrived, and the suggestion that the USA would come back at the Europeans was delivered by Troup, who beat Dominic Barrett in the opener. But normal service was resumed in match 23 as Barrett and Williams teamed up to beat Troup in Kent. Williams then faced Kent and secured a win that took his team 2 clear. The doubles took centre stage with Barrett and Larsen making it 3 wins on the trot for Europe. It took a captain's performance in the next. Rash salvaging a point for the Americans, but Europe are edging nearer the winning mark. It proved to be a drop in the ocean as the blue tidal wave threatened to overwhelm the Americans. Svensson and Williams won against Tackett and Troup. Svensson, with the centre victory, returned to the lane and saw off the challenge of EJ Tackett. And that winning mark is getting ever closer. The mass of blue indicates a mass of points for Europe. 5 from 7 in this session, only Troup and Rash offering any resistance. But the pressure now falls on individuals. The final session is made up exclusively of singles, unless the tournament goes down to a decider. Every American under the spotlight, every European feeling like they're on a roll. Time then for our next match, Dominic Barrett against Troup. And time to join our commentary team of Cass Edwards and Nick Hawley.
So the first game up is Barrett versus Troup. In the centre of the lane there is 3 times as much oil as there is on the outside. It tapers from the middle to the left and to the right.
Well, if there's one man the Americans have been able to bank on, it's been Kyle Troup. He of the unmistakable hair. He really has been sensational. I think he's only had one singles match where he's bowled below 270. I mean, it's been a phenomenal effort from him, and an average of 265 across the board. Just look at the strike to spare ratio. He's going to take some beating, but that's what Barrett will try and do here, and it will be a huge psychological boost if the European skipper can get his side off to the first point of this evening session.
Well, it's a great looking shot as an opener from Dominic. Barrett scores 30 on the first shot of the night. Just going back to what you were saying, Nick, about the advantage to the Americans, it may well be, but let's face it, these European team players all play on the American circuit, so they're going to come up against this sort of condition as well. So I don't think there'll be any great advantage to the American side.
He's been so good, so solid, so steady. Kyle Troup, they just need another big performance out of him here, and that was a bit of movement in the crowd, a late comer. Just catching the eye line there of the American, so he'll just reset.
Yeah, he's not going to let that worry him. He'll just go back, regroup, take a deep breath, find out which ball he wants to use to start with. Gosh, it's quiet.
Well, it really is. It's been a very respectful crowd, as always. Very pro-European, of course, but they're certainly not anti the USA guys. No surprise to see that result. Boy, he's been good this weekend.
Certainly maybe making a play for next year if he gets the chance to come and brings all that hair as well. Great looking shot. Just slightly light in the pocket, but he's hit them thin, made them spin and carried all 10.
Well, assuming the Americans do lose, and that's still an assumption, they will make some changes. I don't think there'll be much doubt about who'll be skippering Team Europe next year. It is going to be this man who gets underway with a double here. He's just got better and better after a slow start.
Well, the way he's playing this long oil pattern is that he's keeping the ball very tight down the middle. He's not looking for too much hook. Just turns up nicely, holds that oil line all the way, gets to the dry part of the lane where the friction takes over, and the ball just turns up nicely.
Flying that European flag for Colchester in Essex. But now here is Troup, and if they do lose, as I was saying earlier, Cass, and they do make changes, and the Americans are pretty ruthless, we've seen that before, it really would be very, very harsh on Troup to pay the price. I mean, he's been easily their star bowler. Now, he was a bit high on the headpin there and has paid the price.
Yeah, and very hard and very fast. We'll see on the slow motion replay exactly how high on that headpin he was. Well, yeah, just enough to leave a single 4-pin, so it can only be a spare. Playing obviously on the world bowling scoring system. 30 pins for a strike, 10 pins for a spare, plus what you score on the first ball of that frame.
Didn't this guy average around 250 last year in a losing effort? You were here.
Yes, I was, and he did. He averaged just over 250 per game. He lost 3 of his matches and won 2. But it's similar to this year, he had 3 games in the 270s, which he has this year. 278, 277 and a 279 out of his 5 games so far this year.
As Barrett started with a 220 something and just picked up and picked up and picked up until ran into a spot of bother earlier today.
Yeah, 250, 260 and a 270, all down to Dom, and won all of them.
But he bowled a 221 to start this afternoon off against Kyle Troup, and he will know that's not going to be good enough. And it looks like he's learned his lessons.
Yeah, it's a really good looking shot. He's playing this lane pattern beautifully. A little bit light in the pocket, but there again, he's got the mix. And sometimes when you hit them thin, they all go. Whereas we've seen sometimes the pocket being absolutely blasted and a single pin standing up for no particular reason. 2 fingers in the ball, no thumb. The two-handed right-hander.
Oh, has he taken it? No, it wouldn't go.
Well,
Oh, this is not what he needs.
He got the messenger, but he went to the wrong door. Just needed to go back an inch or so, and that 10-pin would have gone. Really great-looking shot. Didn't quite get that going, and that was the headpin coming across. Looking to take that 10 away, and it's just dropped short. Look at that.
So back-to-back 9 spares here then for Troup. Now this is worrying for Team USA.
Well, 22 pins is the difference, and we've only played 3 frames, but those 3 frames have all been strikes for the European captain.
It will be very hard for the Americans to come back from a defeat in this match. It would put Europe within 2, but most significantly, their #1 player for the Americans would be gunned down, and that's going to take an awful lot of coming back from. So, right now, Dom Barrett looking to try and stay clean here. No, he leaves the 10 standing as well.
Yet another very good shot from the European captain. You can see how tight he's playing. He hits the down lane marker at about 45 feet, and unfortunately, 6 pins just bounces around the 10. Very hard and very straight with that spare ball.
Well, he's overdue. After pin standing in each of his last 2 frames.
Well, he needs a strike just to bring the difference down to 11 pins.
Right, what's he got? Good pocket hit, no doubt about it. And there's no joking around, there's no playing to the crowd. Very focused here, Kyle Troup.
The pressure building on the Americans as Europe take the lead. More to come after the break. Welcome back to the Weber Cup. It's the final day and the final session. Dominic Barrett against Kyle Troup. Barrett ahead through the first 4 frames. Troup under pressure with the team, currently trailing by 4 points, and the winning line coming up fast. Commentary comes from Cass Edwards and Nick Halling.
On the scoreboard. And just at the moment, there's 11 pins difference.
Far too early to call this one, but let's see if Barrett can get back in the strike zone here. That's a pretty good looking shot. Got a couple of high rollers working here.
Yeah, Dom Barrett, former world champion on the PBA Tour. 10th appearance in the Weber Cup here. I can't quite remember how many wins he's had. Certainly the last 4.
So every time Barrett strikes, Troup's got to match that.
Well, it's a good response. It's 2 strikes in a row.
There's a real sense of intensity around this whole arena at the moment. We've seen the players joshing with each other, kidding around, a few verbals, playing to the crowd responding, but just look at how these 2 are totally in their own zone right now. It is the serious end of this Weber Cup, And the time for laughs and fun is clearly over.
Nick, we've said it before, then they're not actually playing against one another, although it's a head-to-head match play. They're playing the lane. And if they can overcome the lane and shoot 260, there's a good chance that their score will be good enough to win.
Well, Barrett's keeping the pressure on here. This is really good bowling from Dom Barrett.
He certainly has sorted this lane condition out, hasn't he? 5 strikes out of 6 frames. Just getting locked and loaded.
So the Colchester kid still working a 289 here. Just the one pin left standing. Every time he strikes, Troup knows he has to follow suit.
Man under pressure, I would suggest.
Yeah, maybe he felt the pressure there because he got out of the pocket. He was flush on the head pin and has got a split as a result. And how costly might this prove to be?
Hard and fast. 2 hands is great when it's in the pocket, but when it's out the pocket, it's the 4-9 with a 6-pin. Crikey, I couldn't see from where I was. Just an unusual little split, that is.
And a very tough one to take.
Gave it a shot, but unfortunately it's only 2 pins and an open frame.
So the gulf grows to plus 30. Any wider, I don't think Troup's got a hope of pulling this back. And we are in the second half of this match.
We've got 4 frames to go, and it is, as you say, Nick, 32 pins difference. Dom Barrett hasn't missed the pocket.
Now, if Barrett gets another strike here, I think all bets will be off as far as the destination of this point is concerned. He won't be over the line, but it's going to take a spectacular collapse for Barrett from here, and a strike will put him within touching distance.
Yes, he'll be able to reach out and grab the finishing line. And it will certainly be within sight.
How about that? It is in sight. And now nothing else but strikes will do for Troup. Barrett has been nailed on, hasn't he, in this match? I mean, the 1 pin he left standing wasn't the result of a bad shot.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, it's the lane dressing that the American side has selected, and Dom Barrett's come out and absolutely annihilated it.
Troup is unlucky. I mean, this is just getting away in a hurry now from Team USA, and what on earth is this going to do to the psyche of the rest of the team? Because there's absolutely nowhere to hide now. This, barring something extraordinary here, is point number 17 for Europe, and more significantly, their ace in the hole is getting blown away here.
Yes, you're quite right. The high strikers were sent out first, and if your man gets beaten, as you say, it's psychological, the effect on the other players.
And it's not getting beaten, he's getting battered. This is 40 plus now. I mean, Barrett has just set such an exceptionally high standard in this match.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that Carl Troup's bowled a bad game. He's had the 1 open frame, but he's been there or thereabouts for the rest of it.
But the way Barrett is bowling, he's had to be near perfect and a bit lucky as well, and he's had neither, Troup.
No, that's right. And as you say, Barrett is all but perfect. Just 1 single pin tap in the 4th frame, and the rest have been strikes. He's looking for strike number 7 here in the 8th frame, and probable victory.
There's no coming back from this for Kyle Troup. Barrett may have saved his best for last.
He rests his case.
Well, he's got a high going into this match of 278 in this Weber Cup. That's in serious danger now.
It's the point on the board that matters, not necessarily the score, but This one's almost done and dusted.
I think it is. You can forget it. Troup with a strike of defiance there, but he can't crack 250. And Barrett is still thinking of 280 plus. It comes to something when a 240 score is going to be completely wiped out. I mean, that is the kind of quality we are seeing here from Dom Barrett in particular.
Yeah, it's a real captain's innings right from the start, isn't it?
We'll talk about setting the tone. This was a campaign that the Americans had to dominate this Sunday evening session. Their key guy has come out and he has not been able to deliver. And don't blame him. Look at this guy instead and what he's done when it really matters. Oh boy, the only way is Essex. That's another point for Team Europe, and that is them with one hand on the Weber Cup.
The game is won. High fives all round for the European lads with a frame to go. Carl Troup has come out and just been sledgehammered.
I mean, this was an annihilation. Doesn't matter now. Some sympathetic applause.
Yeah, pretty unfortunate. He came up against a really absolutely red hot European captain in game one on the lane condition that they chose, and he's won the day.
A man who's bowled 260 plus in 4 of his 5 previous matches coming into this one is way off the pace. But even if he'd been on his game, he couldn't have matched Barrett today. A strike here for 289. My goodness me, what a performance that was from the captain.
Just an unbelievable shot there. What a fantastic game that was. Just one spare in the middle. 289. What a great shot.
That'll do it. That's the end of this one. Svensson got a 289 on Friday night here to start the Sunday night session. That's been matched by Dom Barrett. Europe wins again. Europe progress to 17 points. America on their knees.
Team Europe really applying the pressure. They're now within 2 points of outright victory. Reaction and comment after the break. Dominic Barrett is guiding his European team ever closer to a record-breaking 5th consecutive Weber Cup. He's just seen off the challenge of Kyle Troup by a wide margin, taking his team's tally to 17, 2 short of the winning line. There are a series of singles matches coming up with the Americans under pressure and the Europeans confident, led by their captain Barrett, who is now talking to Hannah Wilkes.
Dom, just 2 points away from a victory here for Team Europe. How important was it to come out and set the tone early?
Well, I just wanted to make sure I bowled a really good game. I know Carl's been bowling really well. He's been the best player. I've probably been Europe's best player. Jesper's been really close, left a few single pins. So, you know, to come out and extend that lead, get that 1 point closer, it's a big deal. At
the start of the game, it felt like you could cut the tension with a knife. Have you noticed a change in atmosphere here this evening?
No, you normally build into this sort of tension, the way that the Weber Cups I've been at before. But this was like this yesterday. It's taken out of you so much. You go back to the hotel last night and you're just so tired, you're exhausted. And I'm sure, you know, after this is done, win or lose, it's going to be the same way. But right now, you know, we're on a high. We're bowling great as a team. Just want the studio to go out there and do the same thing.
As you walk down here to speak to me, you're getting cheers from the crowd as you walk past. How much energy do they give you going into these final matches?
Yeah, so much. I mean, they're like our 5th man. Say it every year. And it's a bit unfair on the Americans having to play against all of us. And the 500 people here that come and support us and everyone at home. But really thankful to be back in Barnsley, and I can't wait for this event to continue, grow bigger. If you're at home watching this, make sure you come next year. We have a great time. You can be a part of this too.
Barrett sensing the change in atmosphere as his team look to make history. Coming up now, the clash between Stuart Williams and Sean Rash. Commentary for this match comes from Cass Edwards and Nick Halling.
With Guy Kaminsky sat alongside me as well, and the only thing missing from this particular confrontation is Don King as the promoter. It really is one of those heavyweight encounters. Why Guy Kaminsky wants to be in the booth for this one, I do not know, because if Sean Rash and Stuart Williams start getting at it, there won't be time for any of us in this comedy box to get a word in edgeways. These two are big talkers, and if one of them gets on top, the other one's going to hear about it.
I just didn't want you two to have all the fun up here, so I had to come and steal the thunder a little bit. But this really is, to me, going to be the match of the Weber Cup so far. But sometimes the big hype never delivers what we're hoping for. But if these two can get some strikes going, you're going to see the full repertoire, gamesmanship, showmanship, the whole bang.
It is a non-contact sport, isn't it, Tenpin?
Well, if it becomes contact, I like Stuart's chances.
Maybe that's why Guy has decided to join us up here. It's safer up here.
That's right, yeah, up in the bleachers here. Stu Williams averaged 240 a game for this tournament.
I would love to hear the chit-chat if they were marked up. Only they're marked up in the doubles, but this would be another cracker to hear what they have to say, because they also like to talk to each other, because when doing that, the other player they know sitting next to them can hear every word.
Just to put a different spin on it, yeah, we would be having a lot of fun with this under normal circumstances. Sean Rash can't afford to have anything distracting him right now. I mean, the Americans aren't out of this. It's not over till it's over. But they've got to start putting a few points together, and this is a match they need the point in, without any question at all. Rash cannot afford to get himself distracted here.
No, he definitely can't, and he's been really good for them this weekend. It's been unfortunate he's felt that back, and this is difficult in this format where you get long breaks between your next match, and he just felt that he was only good for one game. He didn't like to bowl and then get cold and then try bowl again for fear of letting this team down. Just shows how much they care about the team unit. Cass, in years before, we haven't seen that. It always seemed to be like an individual, 4 individuals, but this year the American team looked like a great unit.
Yeah, no, Sean's really brought them together, and I was just going to say, if Sean starts getting involved in something, Stuart Williams won't care. Stuart's going to go out there and really aggravate him if possible.
Yeah, two guys that have been on tour a long time. They know the tricks of the trade. So it will be a good one.
How far do we go with this for those of us that don't know and those of us that don't really follow the tour as closely as you guys do? Is there a lack of respect, professional respect between these two? Does it go that far?
Oh, definitely not. I think it's the fact they have so much respect for each other. They're trying all the covert and underhand tactic to try and get to each other. So I know for sure that Stuart's got to Marshall a little bit this weekend. Marshall started on fire, and as Stuart's kind of, I wouldn't say broken him in that kind of sense, but they have just kept whispering in his ear, and you try too hard and then it doesn't really work out. But that's Stuart's game.
So we're not going to need security to come in between these two.
Well, I was just going to say, Nick, that these two play on the tour together, and they play against one another for a living. So they're taking one another's money if they win or lose on the tour.
Put your seatbelts on, boys. We're about to get going.
Here is Rash, who's been bowling, as you say, very well. And is that 10 going to go? It got a nudge from the messenger, but it just ran out of gas.
So a bit of technical stuff out the way early in this match. The lane pattern now is the longest lane pattern we've had of the 5 sessions. Long sword, 45 foot. So there really isn't very much room to the right.
So a spare to open up from Sean Rash. Let's see what big Stuart Williams can do, and you know that he will want to throw down an early marker if he possibly can. like that.
Yeah, pretty good looking shot. Straight down the oar line. Gave it a lot of back end and carried all 10 pins.
That's what they're trying to control, Cass, is that back end. Because of the long oil pattern, what tends to happen, the bowling ball skids so long, it comes in behind the headpin, so it looks like a good shot, but we're seeing a lot of corner pins, Nick, and that's due to the length of the lane pattern, so that's a great shot. Sorry, Nick, they're trying to get that ball to hook up a little bit earlier and hit the headpin more flush, not come behind it, which is difficult to do on a long lane pattern, so execution is vital. We said there at the break point, how far down the lane, that break point here on Specto is 45 foot down the lane on the break point, so that's pretty much down there, so that's what they're trying to control. Sometimes we see what looks like a good ball in the corner pin. How it comes off your hand is absolutely vital, and in addition to that, you need to control your ball speed. You get a little bit excited, you try and throw it a bit too hard, you see that ring 10.
Well, so much technically then for these bowlers to consider, think about, control. Stu Williams looking for the double here and taking out that 10 in the corner as well. He's up and running. And I'll tell you what, there's not a lot of trash talking going on down there. Just like in the first match that we've seen, it's business first for these bowlers.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it's the business end of the tournament, and maybe they realise it's so important to stay focused. And that sledging that Guy was hoping for may not take place.
Oh, he's not happy. He's gone very wide. He's missed the head pin.
There's a lane pattern there. That's a shocker there. That really is completely out the window. That ball getting all the way out his break point at 3 board. He's aiming at 7 or 8 board. That's a 5 board miss to the right. That's huge. I mean, that's huge for the guys at this level.
Yeah, fortunate to take that 10 pin away as well.
Well, he missed so far right. He managed to get the 10 pin out there.
That's right. Yeah, it was so far right, wasn't it?
Very makeable spare, and he's done just that, but the door opens up, and he's, as we've seen throughout this Weber Cup, he's not 100% happy with the approach, Sean Rash.
Yes, he had a bit of trouble earlier with his slide left shoe. And Stuart's just going out to check that everything's all right.
I think that's definitely...
Or is that playing for time?
No, that's not playing for time. That's playing on Sean's mind. He's just trying to say, oh, maybe the approach isn't right. He knows that approach is absolutely perfect. But I think what's happening is Sean, with his being worried about his back, maybe he's just not getting into the shot, the right way. And he's now played in his mind that the approach is not great.
Yeah, and that's been there right through this Weber Cup, and it's been there for nobody else at all. No one's had an issue with the approach, unless there's been some movement in the crowd or a light comes in. But here is Williams looking to really twist it, and he's done it. This is a fast start.
Well, Stu's carrying on where Don Barrett left off in the last game, didn't he?
And this is meant to be the USA's pick. This is meant to be USA's wheelhouse. This is meant to be all for them, and it looks like it's the backyard for Europe here.
Well, I was saying to Nick, yeah, the USA have sent their top 3 out, but it's working out for the top 3 of Europe.
Oh my goodness, 9 times out of 10 that goes. Boy, that's the moment you realise this Weber Cup is not meant to be.
Yeah, you're right, Nick. It's so unfortunate. I mean, to all intents and purposes, that was a great looking shot for a strike, and the 10 pins had been hit a couple of times, and it still won't go.
It's a gravity defier. What a kick in the teeth that is for Sean Rash. Yeah, he's gone. You saw his reaction. I mean, he did not deserve that.
No, but that's the lane pattern, guys. If you just don't get it off your hand, absolutely perfect. That's what happens. You leave that 10 pin. It looks unlucky, but I think Sean needs to slow it down just a fraction. Let the ball pick up a bit sooner.
Well,
That'll get the 10 pin out.
If he's going to make an adjustment, Guy, he's going to have to make it pretty quick, because this is starting to slip away. We're looking at 30+ pins already if Stuart strikes here. Well, he's on the money tonight, isn't he?
Williams perfect through the first 4 frames. More to come after the break. Welcome back to the Weber Cup, where Stuart Williams is a man on a mission. Perfect through the first 4, he really is applying the pressure to Sean Rash. If Williams wins this match, his side are just a point away from outright victory. Sean Rash feeling the pressure, commentary from Cass Edwards and Nick Horling.
These guys are so good, they're not trying to hit the pocket. They're trying to make sure they're getting all 10 pins down. So let's see if Sean makes any alteration.
Well, he has to, Guy. This is a 35-pin deficit. This is already must-strike territory for Rash.
And you add the fact that they're 17-12 down in the Weber Cup. This is desperation stakes.
Well, he deserved the last one. How's that one come a little bit too late in the day? There is still time for this to turn around, but he needs help from Stu Williams.
Now he threw that ball on exactly the same line as Stuart there. Both hit the 7th board dead on. But now it's about making shots, Cass. You know, when you've got it lined up, you still have to execute. And under the pressure, people battle to execute.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. There's so much to go wrong from the start of the approach to the foul line, for starters. And of course, it's pretty heavy oil in that middle of that lane anyway. Okay, we know it goes 45 feet, but in the middle of the lane, it's still very, very heavy oil.
Williams looking to keep the tension ratcheted right up, and I'll tell you what, he is perfect at the midway point here.
There's still time for one, guys.
We know what you mean.
Yeah, we just look, that ball almost starting to come a bit high now, Cass. I think the lane's transitioning, so I think Stu would need to probably move his feet a board or 2 just to stay ahead of that transition. Otherwise, if he doesn't move, that ball will go through the nose shortly.
It's got to be a strike, and it is, but he is just chasing and trying to hang on here, because the story of this match so far has been Stu Williams. 5 out of 5. Rash has bowled 1 bad ball, yes. He's also had no luck. But you know what? I know what you mentioned there, Cass. Are we going to have a 300 game? Is this the man that's going to deliver it? Nothing he can do about it, of course. But if Williams, if you gave him, as a team player, the option of the point or the glory of 300, he'll say, I'll take the point.
Every single day of the week and twice on Tuesdays. The only thing, remember the one match he played, he had a massive lead. Then he had that aberration and missed the single pin, had a split. So I hope that's not playing in the back of his mind, that he just tended to open the door for his opposition.
Well, if there's one thing Stu has not had yet in this Weber Cup, it's a complete game. Oh, and even when he hasn't got a good ball, he's taken all 10. That was the first sign of him going offline, and he's still taken the lot.
But it did snap up, Guy, like you said, higher through the nose, left the solid 9-pin standing. But hey, it was a lucky, must have been a lucky Larson shot, because that 9-pin's gone with a messenger.
But as we called it, Cass, he did actually move his feet a little bit left, but clearly not enough. But he is still staying ahead of the transition. I'm sure that'll make him move a little bit more for the next one.
Got to be a strike here for Rash. And it is. He's doing everything he can do. That very quietly is a turkey for the American skipper.
Both these players have moved inside now, but you see this quite often, Nick, in matches. When you start off badly and your opposition's on fire, he kind of drags you along and you get sucked into the momentum. But what happens sometimes is that when the guy ahead stops striking, so do you, which he can't afford. First of all, he needs the opportunity from Stuart.
Yeah, I can't see Stuart giving up. He's pretty much locked and loaded here.
Well, you say that, Cass. That last ball was the first one that had drifted out of the pocket. He got away with it.
Yeah, I mean, but Guy kind of explained why an adjustment may well be made now.
Well, let's see how he makes that adjustment, because that, I think, is the key to this point right here, isn't it? If he does adjust and works out the puzzle, then he'll be on his way.
So he was standing on 29th board, then he moved to 30 board. Let's see where he puts his feet on for this shot.
Good.
There is the answer.
Slightly fortunate. There was a light on the head, but they had so much rotation on it. Just hit him thin, made him spin. Carries all 10 for 7 strikes in a row.
He actually threw the ball a bit more to the right there. Cass got it out to 5 board where they've been aiming at 7-8. Got that out to 5, so obviously decided instead of moving his feet, he pushed the ball fractionally more to the right.
Well, it's all going wrong here for Rash, isn't it? And this session has started disastrously. The Americans have picked the lane condition they wanted. They've sent out their best and most consistent players. Troup's been beaten because Barrett was just so sensational. And now Rash has walked into a Stu Williams who has saved his best game for last. Williams in singles competition going into this one, yet to crack 250.
Well, I'm afraid to say that this match is just about over, and with it is probably going the Weber Cup. But what we can look forward to, Cass, you've been talking about it all weekend. Could we see the perfect game?
Well, we're kind of keeping our fingers crossed here, as are the audience. So come on, Stuart.
Only needs 3 more. Say only. That's easy to say up here.
Well, one more's got the game tied up, hasn't it?
The game is not tied up. Thank goodness he's got a big cushion.
I was going to say, talk us through that one, Guy.
Yeah, there's a commentator's curse right there. That's a little unfortunate. You know, as we've been talking about, if you just get it a little right or a little too far down the lane, it comes in behind the headpin, and what it does, it shoots the headpin in front of the back two, and you leave the pocket 7-10. It is a bit unfortunate, but also, unfortunately, what can happen on this lane condition.
Suddenly, after 8 frames, just the tiniest glimmer of hope for Sean Rash and Team USA. He's got to just put down 2 strikes and see what happens. There's one of them.
It's been an unbelievable Weber Cup, Nick, and just the Europeans seem to find that extra gear yesterday, and they haven't taken their foot off the pedal.
But basically, if Stu Williams just stays clean, he's going to be okay, and comfortably okay as well.
Depends on the count. Obviously, he doesn't have to get a 6 or a 7 spare, but yeah, 2 spares should, 2 8 spares, 2 9 spares should lock it up.
And we're not seeing many 6s and 7 spares in this Weber Cup.
Well, he's only missed the pocket once.
And he's not going to make that mistake again. That is game, set and match.
And that's all you needed to know. That was a critical shot for this match. Stuart knew it, and he let Sean know it as well.
Yeah, great looking shot. It's a great looking game from Stu Williams, the number 2 man that's come out tonight for Europe, following his captain.
Rash has at least made him bowl for something, but the reality is 5 pins will do this. And Sean Rash knows that is something he can do with his eyes closed. Well, 253 not enough, but just listen to this place. For Stu Williams, who has yet to bowl a 250, has saved his best for when it matters most. That is Team Europe 1 point from retaining their Weber Cup.
Stu Williams, 279, a fantastic looking game. Don't take it away from Sean Rash. 253 is a pretty good game to be beaten on.
And a match played in excellent spirit as well. Let's not forget that. There was none of the talk, none of the pushing and shoving verbally or any other which way. Stu Williams was all business. Sean Rash didn't get the breaks. But take nothing away. Rash did not lose that match. Williams won it, and he won it emphatically. What a time to come up with a 279. Europe on the brink.
A crucial win for the Europeans. It puts them just a point away from the outright win. Stuart Williams stepping up to put his side to within touching distance of the trophy. It would be a record-breaking achievement to take 5 consecutive titles. Williams now talking to Hannah Wilkes.
Stu, a near perfect game there to take Europe within 1 point.
Yeah, I mean, it was so close. I got a couple of lucky hits earlier on in the game, and then it was the one thing we've been talking about not doing. I got my hand around it, it went too far down the lane, and then you just don't get away with it very often.
You've been a stalwart for the European team this weekend, but it's not just about those who are performing out on the lane, because you said that Martin was very helpful for you going into this match.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I mean, we talk about being a team, but like Martin's been struggling a little bit on the lane, but we were in the practice, and I didn't have a very good look in the practice session, and Martin said, just go and get the shore lock. You know, you try that one. I think that one's going to be good. And then he was almost completely perfect. So we might not be the 4 best bowlers, but between us we're a much better team, and in this format that makes a huge difference.
It's a difference we're certainly seeing. Jesper up next. Do you reckon he can seal the deal for you?
Yeah, I'm pretty certain Jesper's going to seal the deal. On this longer pattern last year, this was the one he did all the damage to the United States team on. So fingers crossed Jesper can do it and we can have an early night.
And just a word on that oil pattern, because of course the USA picked it and it's really not working out for them so far. It seems to really suit you as a team.
Well, I mean, they didn't really have very many choices. They either had to go for the really long one or the really short one. And I mean, with the way their styles are, this was the one that was kind of the most obvious for them to choose. So I felt for them because we've kind of got them a little bit trapped.
Well done again. And I'm sure you want to get to the stands and watch Jesper get underway.
Yeah, sure.
Stuart Williams riding his luck and making the most of the oil pattern in this, the final session of the Weber Cup. Europe just a point away from the win. For America, every match has turned into a must-win encounter in the 18th edition of the Weber Cup.